Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Laira online smicha. Now that the summer season is upon us, so it's the right time to review some of the halachos that are especially applicable to the summertime. And Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter has granted us that many go up to places where they relax for the summer. And one of the luxury items that people have is a swimming pool, either a communal swimming pool or a private swimming pool. And I'd like to review some of the halachos that are connected with a swimming pool. Now, when you think about a swimming pool, the obvious halachos that everybody thinks about is usually two things. Tznius, to make sure that everything there is done in the proper manner, and which would include also mechitza, to make sure that there's separation between men and women, v'chulu v'chulu. And then the second idea that people are very careful about is the Indian of v'nishmartem ha'oid nafshei seichem, which is safety. I should really say safety is number one, to make sure that it's safe and there's a gate and there's a lifeguard, v'chulu v'chulu. All of it is very, very important. So those are the inyanim people know about. However, I would like to speak today about some of other nikudas that people don't necessarily discuss. And as mentioned before, just like there's the inyan of the gate for the mechitza, for the micah, to protection, there's also the dinim shulchan aruch of when is swimming allowed, when is not swimming allowed, the 9 days, v'chulu v'chulu. Now, whether or not a swimming pool does the job for a mikveh, or it doesn't do the job for a mikveh, especially those that it says in Svarim are very, very makpid, that on Friday to go to the mikveh or Tevilah Sezra, and if they don't have a mikveh nearby, if they could use it. That's one of those other issues that I'm not going to spend time to discuss. I primarily want to talk about things that people are not thinking about in the swimming pool area. Let's start with the fence around the swimming pool. So we mentioned before, the fence around the swimming pool has two reasons. One, for tznius, as a mechitzah, that people shouldn't see what's going on inside. And second of all, pasha, safety. Now, when you have a fence, and there's a door, and the door has a tzuras pesach, and it's a proper door, and some cases you even have a door leading into a small hallway, and then you get into the pool area. So the question becomes if that door needs a mezuzah. So there are reasons, the common reasons that people think that why you should not need a mezuzah, because they look at a swimming pool as the same area, same equivalence to a bathroom. And if a bathroom, it's not a mutton covered and people stand there naked, maybe the same thing would be by a swimming pool. It happens to be that doesn't apply by a swimming pool, because by a swimming pool, everybody walks around with bathing suits, so it's not exactly like a beis hakisei. So, and people don't stand there naked. So this is actually a machlokes ha'achronim. Some say that since it's anyways, people are mostly uncovered, even though it's not fully naked, still not it's not a mutton covered. Others say, what do you mean? It's not a din of a merchatz, especially this issue. If it's a din of a merchatz, comes up as a discussion for many other issues. A merchatz is specifically in hot water. This does not have a din of a merchatz, and therefore it has a din as part of the extension of the house. It's like a regular room in the house, and it's just like a regular room in the house. You're mechuyev mezuzah, maybe this room too. Now there is a din in Shulchan Aruch that says that only rooms that are covered, have a roof, is mechuyev mezuzah. Rooms that are uncovered, have no roof, are not mechuyev b'mezuzah, even though it has a doorway. Now, that's not necessarily applicable everywhere, because the same din says that the sha'arim of the Medina, walls around chayma around the Medina, if it has a shar, is mechuyev b'mezuzah. Even though you open up the shar, you're going into uncovered area. It all depends what the service of that wall is. So if you have a wall, indoor pool, then there is more reason to believe that that door leading to the indoor pool is part of the house, and especially that it has a roof over it. But if you have an outdoor pool, that some say it's since it's open, but it's still no different than Sharei Chayma or Sharei Azara that's mechuyev b'mezuzah. The fact that it doesn't have a roof over it, that's just no different than a chutzner. And a chutzner, because it's a courtyard, it's your courtyard, it's an extension to your house. The same would be the door around the pool. The big discussion is only if the pool has a din of a merchatz, because we know that a merchatz is not mechuyev b'mezuzah, because there's no diras kavah. It's not a diras kavod. But what's the definition of a diras kavod? It's primarily two things. Number one, it has to be people walk around, they're very not sneistic. Number two, it's according to many poskim, that's only if it's with hot water, and not necessarily any one of these apply in a pool area. So this is a debate, and a lot of poskim say you should put up a mezuzah, but don't make a bracha. Some consider it like a beis merchatz, but putting it up without a mezuzah, without a bracha, is not a bad thing. Now, because, as mentioned before, a pool does not have a din of a merchatz, so therefore, Achronim say that you're allowed to make a bracha. A lot of times a person comes out of the pool and he's very hungry or he's very thirsty. Could he make a bracha and eat something in the pool area? So because it doesn't have a din of a merchatz, as long as you're not standing in front of not sneas and ein liba royas ha'erva, then the din is you could make a bracha. L'chatchila, you should get dressed because the proper way to say Shem Shemayim is the proper dress code. But because it doesn't have a din of a merchatz, you're allowed to say a bracha there. At the same reason, if you're in their area and you're just laying on a pool chair and you just want to read a sefer there, because again, according to many poskim, it doesn't have a din of a merchatz, you're allowed to bring a sefer there, and you're allowed to say Tehillim there, because it doesn't have the din of a merchatz. Now, what happens in the pool area? You also have those chairs where people lay down and rest, to take a suntan or whatever. So first of all, the dinei of tznius applies obviously not only just outside. The dinei of tznius apply even in the pool area. So as long as you're enjoying yourself in the way you're allowed to, you're allowed to be limited, and you're allowed to do things that are not proper usually in your home. You don't walk around just in a bathing suit. But if you're swimming, then you're allowed to. So there's a discussion if you're just laying around, because the Shulchan Aruch has a long discussion how proper and how almost always a person has to be tzanua, just to lay around just for a suntan. There is a discussion if that's allowed, even just to lay around, not sneisnik. And the definition of not sneisnik is any body part that's usually covered should be covered, even in the pool area. Okay, so people want to lay down for whatever reason and relax. So we have these lawn chairs or these pool chairs that you lay down and you relax. There is an issue with that thing too, because the Gemara says that a sheikhev, a prakton, in Shulchan Aruch and Even HaEzer, Siman Chaf Gimel, says you're not allowed to lay flat on your back. For a man to lay flat on his back upward, there is an isser to do that. So, and even it says in Shulchan Aruch, when a man goes to sleep, he should make sure to try to sleep on one side and wake up on another side, but just to lay flat down facing upward is a isser, is a straight out isser. And many tzaddikim were very, very makbid, even never to be sitting straight upward, even sitting. So some say that if a person is laying without the intention of sleeping, this issue doesn't apply. Yet there were makbid never to lay straight back, your back and facing upward. So the discussion in Achrayim is, how about these, if there's a difference between sitting and laying. Sitting, you're allowed to say sit forward. Just laying facing upward is a issur from shechiv a prakdan. So the question is, these shears have different positions. Your position number one is still sitting. 2, 3, and the further you go, you become flattens out. So because there's different positions, you have to basically know at what position it changes from sitting, which is allowed, and completely laying straight up, which is not allowed. Just the tip of the iceberg for a person to know. For a person to know just a simple thing, which is an enjoyment, which the Torah encourages enjoyment. The Torah encourages having these pleasures, but at the same time, you have to do it in a Torah way and in the way that the Torah allows, and as much as you could to wear a yarmulke, you should wear a yarmulke. To get undressed as close as to pool area, so you shouldn't walk around from the pool outside, even in the pool area. Walk around if you could. Closest possible to the pool before you have to walk around, even just with the bathing suit, because even with the bathing suit, there are a lot of body parts that are uncovered more than usual, and even that applies the dinim of tznius.